Changing minds one thought at a time.
Greetings, everyone, to the Change Your Minds Online Empowering Faith Series. How are you doing today, Jessica?
Doing great, Akina. Thanks for asking. How about you?
I am doing awesome, and I'm so excited to introduce everyone to our wonderful guest tonight. He is the owner of Troy Holt Consulting. He is also an assistant pastor, youth pastor, and he is all about the heart and hand of a servant leader. Without any further ado, I would like to introduce everyone to Troy Holt. How are you doing today, Troy?
I am doing very well. How you guys doing?
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me. I am very honored, humbled and honored for this opportunity.
Now, you, in your title, The Heart and Hand of a Servant Leader, that is so poignant because, especially in the leadership realm, many people are speaking about being a servant leader. So can you touch on how the servant leader and the minister or pastor coincide?
Well, the servant leader, a lot of times people look at, in today's society, they look at a servant as they're looking at somebody with a position or a title. And the man makes the title, not the title makes the man. And so therefore you rarely hear people say, I'm a servant. They because they're trying to, a lot of times, not all the times, they're trying to impress. And so therefore they want to, use their title. And so a servant, is one that, as I say, is the heart and the hand. The heart deals with his attitude. The hand deals with his action. And so therefore, in order to have a effective servant leader, the heart and the hand need to coincide and need to work together in harmony for that person to be an effective servant leader.
Yeah, I love that. And, oftentimes, like you said, people, they want to do something, but they do it for themselves, and it becomes about themselves. And I think we know as leaders, especially leaders who are following God, that we matter when we're in contribution to other people. Now, what it really means to be a leader is not to do something for your own personal benefit and to further yourself, but to do something and have that be about somebody else. And to me, that's what a servant leader is. So what are some ways that qualities you think that a servant leader has that separates a servant leader from someone who is that person who's just out in the front of the crowd making a bunch of noise?
A good question, Jessica, and you kind of touched on it. One of those, qualities is a person being unselfish and having first of all, it starts with the heart. It starts with what is a person's motive. A lot of times we can't see motives because we can't see a person's heart. But the person must look at their motives, and a lot of times we all have to go back and examine ourselves. Why am I doing this? Am I doing this for myself, or am I doing it for others? And so it must start with our motives is are we trying to help others? So one of the important things is to be have the right motive, to be unselfish. Hey, I'm here to help. I'm here to assist. A servant is kind of like, you go into a restaurant and you have a waiter. That waiter is there to assist those customers on whatever needs to make them feel comfortable. And so that's the main thing is we live in society now where everybody wants to be famous and popular. But a true servant is unpopular, unknown, unnamed, unrecognized sometimes. And so you may not never know. There's a lot of true servants that work behind the scenes. And so That's what we have to realize. A servant is sometimes in the trenches, working behind the scene, getting his hand dirty, getting his or her hands dirty, and a lot of times it's inconvenient.
Yes, I love that. I love what you're saying because, a lot of people, you're right, a lot of people want to be out in the foreground, but
Correct.
a lot of work really happens in the background.
Correct.
Some people feel that, just because their talents are in the background, they may not be a leader. And that's not always the case, because the things they handle are in the background need to really happen before the foreground can really come into existence. So talk about that, Pastor Troy.
Well, first of all, the strength of a pyramid is not the top, it's the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at a pyramid, people think the strength is at the top, the one who's over everything. But the strength is at the bottom. That is those that have the support. And a lot of times those that are the support are those that make change of mind show happen that you don't see. That are those that in the ministry that if you have an event, you don't even see them out front, but they are the ones that making it work, making it happen. I can speak from this personal experience. I've been at the same church for 26 years under the same pastor who's been pastoring there 32 years. And just recently in December, I got elevated to assistant pastor. But I was always doing the work behind the scene before I got a position, and I wasn't looking for a position. And so, therefore, a lot of times from personal experience, I'm working behind the scene. A person don't need a title to carry any to be a servant. All you need is a willing heart and action, the attitude and action to be a servant. And anybody can serve. You don't have to wait on nobody. You don't need a title. You can, serve, a family member or a friend or even a stranger. You can serve. And we need people who have a mindset is, I'm not trying to make a name for myself, but I'm trying to make a difference. I'm trying to impact. I'm trying to inspire. And that's what we need more servants of, and especially in the Christian community. We don't need any more Christian celebrities. We need submissive servants.
Mm-hmm. That's great, because a lot of times when we're in the ministry or we are helping the ministry, a lot of times there are some who don't want to do it if, they don't get the accolades. But
Correct.
We have to realize that part of ministry is, Jesus' ministry was only 3 years, and most of the time he was, serving the people. And
Correct.
We need to follow that type of mentality. So I
Correct.
noticed that when you were speaking, you were talking about the attitude and the action. Mm-hmm. Can you break down the attitude of a servant leader?
Yeah, the attitude. Remember, the attitude deals with the heart. In the Hebrew, where the Old Testament was written, the heart deals with the center of a person's will, their desire, their motives. And so the heart or the attitude of a servant leader should be one that is of love. One that the heart should be loving, pure, and unselfish. And so if that's wrong, then the hand is going to, which is the action, is going to be wrong. You got to realize a person's belief must match their behavior. A lot of times, a person's behavior doesn't match their belief. So a servant's belief, which starts with his heart, must match his hand, which deals with his action or his behavior. And so, therefore, his heart needs to be pure. It needs to be unselfish. It needs to be loving. It needs to be a spirit of humility, a desire to help without expected anything anything in return. You want to help. Someone made a quote. This kind of paraphrasing. Go out and help somebody who you know can't reciprocate or return, and you'll really be blessed. I hope I'm answering the questions.
Oh, yes. I totally understand. Now, I like the fact that you're moving in the direction from the heart to the hand and how you're connecting those things. And, a lot of times people don't realize that is a direct connection. You have to have that willingness to serve before the service can happen. You can
Correct.
sit around and piddle around and do whatever, but if you do not have that willingness before you even put your hand to the plate, then it's in vain. And
right.
we
True.
want, like you were saying, we have plenty of Christian celebrities. We need Christian workers to bring more people into the kingdom, to let people know about how good God is, to let people know
right.
how much He has done for us. Because a lot of people may have not been exposed to that, and we cannot take that, for
Correct.
granted that everybody has.
Right.
So can you give us some examples of how the servant leader can go out into the hedges and the highways and start doing these things to build the kingdom?
Well, the first thing it starts with a desire. There's in true giving, it's two elements to make giving a complete element. In true giving, number one is the desire. A person must first have the desire. And number two is the person must have, the second part of that is the ability. If a person don't have the desire, then the ability really doesn't matter. Because most people, it depends on what it is. In general, most people, they probably have the ability, but then they don't have the desire. So it starts with the person having the desire, to do something, to make a difference. It doesn't have to be big. Sometimes people think that, in order to be an effective servant, I got to go out and do something big. Well, a small thing can have a big impact. There's a quote saying, look at it, if you think being small doesn't have a big impact, then try going to sleep with a mosquito. It's going to annoy you and irritate you, that little thing, but it's going to have a big impact. Mother Teresa was one that had a big impact. Matter of fact, her impact is so big is I'm talking about her now. She was a small lady in stature. And so it starts with us, having the desire. What can I do? What can I do to help somebody? What can I do to take my mind off myself and to help somebody else in need? A lot of times, like I said this earlier, it's not always the convenient time. The very time that that God will use you, it'll be the very time when you say, I really don't have the time. This is the wrong time to do it. And that's the very time God will open up a door. Let me give you an illustration. This is what happened to me. True story. One night, I had worked, was working in retail, and so I had worked that whole day. It was a Saturday, and so that night I had to clean. So I'm still a servant. I still clean at the church, okay? So it was our week to clean. We have teams, so it was our week to clean. And so I was tired, and I had to preach that Sunday morning because my pastor was out of town. So usually on Sunday morning I would be the one to preach. And most of the time when I have to preach like that, I'm up all night preparing, praying, putting my notes together and all that. And so I worked. Then I went to the church to clean, and I was thinking about, man, I'm tired. I really don't feel like doing this. I got these notes. So while I was there cleaning, I walked out and I left my keys sitting in the chair. Mm-hmm. So I can't get home. I don't stay there too far from the church. Can't get home and I got my keys in there. So I'm getting even more frustrated because now it's gonna make my time later. So I called one of the brothers, one of the friends of my brothers. He said he'll come in a little bit. But what happened is while I'm sitting there, some people walk by the church, and God inspired me to go talk to them. And so I began to talk to them and begin to minister to them and encourage them. And they said they would come to church tomorrow. And so God showed me that particular time is that divine interruptions sometimes are the very time that God uses us the most and bless us the most when it's the most inconvenient time. And therefore, I was there, upset because it was inconvenience to me, but God strategically allowed it to happen for me to be at a place where I could meet somebody that I could help minister to and encourage. And so sometimes when we do things, it's not always the most convenient time.
Wow. Yes. First off, thank you so much for letting God use you in that manner, because they probably wouldn't, if you had not been outside, you would have missed the connection. They would have missed,
Correct.
Their chance
Correct.
to meet with the Lord, and
That's true.
A lot of times that, like you're saying, that divine interruption, we are so frustrated with what's going on. We just thinking about what we're doing and what's going on in our lives, but we forget about the life that we touch in the process.
Now let me say something, Dr. Finch, to add to that. I can get impatient. I don't like lines. If I go into Walmart and it's a first of the month or something and there's a line, I'm going out. So I don't want nobody to think, Troy has it all together. He's this most patient person. Oh no. So God going to deal with me, about that. But it's a lot of times it's the most inconvenient time.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, thank you for sharing that piece. I'm not always the most patient person either, and totally get that. But, and things, and if things are not going boom, 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 bless.
Right. Yes, I know what you're saying. Yes.
But, when we are going so fast, trying to do everything that we think is supposed to be done, that sometimes we forget to listen to the still small voice that he's trying to use to speak to us. And so sometimes he has to come up with these divine interruptions to say, hey, brother, hey, sister, it's time for you to, you need to listen to what I have to say to you, because I have more than what you think is going on.
Right.
I have more things for you to do. This just may be a drop in the bucket compared to what you're really supposed to be here for. We need to get back on track so that I can lead you and guide you into that path on which you're supposed to be going.
Right.
If we stay in ourselves, sometimes we can miss that. And so, that was a wonderful illustration about how he said, okay, you would have had those keys, you would have drove back home, you would have did this, that, and the third at the house or whatever. Mm-hmm. But no, he said, know what? You're gonna be here, and you're gonna talk to my people.
True.
And yes, so I love the fact that being a servant leader is also being consistent and going with the flow sometimes. And we may not be the most patient of persons, but we realize that the ministry is not easy. It's not streamlined.
True,
it's not always smooth. We have to go with that flow, and we have to get over our personal box. And then we need to move into the area from which he needs us to move in whatever situation. Can you kind of let us know what that is like, 26 years in the same ministry and recently being elevated? I'm sure there were some times when you were like, oh, Lord, but tell us how you were consistent as a servant and how the 26 years, prepared you for such a time as this.
Man, wow, that's, like I said, our pastor, he's been there 32 years. 33, well, it'll be 33
Mm-hmm.
in August. My wife is, we've been married 25 years in September, and she's been there ever since he started pastoring. And so servants have to sacrifice. That's one of the things that we live in where everything is comfortable. So let me tell you some sacrifices. Well, first of all, back in 1991, I got out of the military in order to stay here in Pensacola and help serve in the ministry. Nothing promised to me, nothing, wasn't looking for anything, just wanted to be a part in serving the ministry. Then in 2004, I think it was 2003, 2004, I was working at the jewelry store, retail in the mall, and I had got an opportunity for a position in Clarksville, Tennessee. Well, Dr. Fent, Nashville is my hometown. And so they were going to pay for the move. Oh, it was so tempting. It was so tempting. Because I miss home. I still miss home. And I decided, me and my pastor, we talked, and he said, I don't know if that's a good idea for you. And I listened to the small voice. Good thing it wasn't, because if I would have done it, then because we sold a lot to the military, and the military downsized in the area or something, so I really would have been suffering, But there was 2 times that I gave up, I sacrificed some dreams and goals that I wanted for the sake of the ministry. My wife works. We have a daycare. My wife is the daycare director there, but it's more a ministry for my wife than her. She's basically volunteer. She's been doing this for years. This is sacrifice, and so we've done a lot in the community. We started a 501(c)(3), a company called Circle Inc. We built some housing, about 147 units for the elderly behind the church. Then around the corner, we built another 72 units for single family. We had a clinic. We had a grocery store. We had all this in the hood, in the community, to make a difference. And so a lot of this has been sacrifice. A lot of the times when getting certifications in this area, I was paying money out of my own pocket, to drive in the state of Florida to go certain places, hotel. A lot of times the classes were free, but you had to pay for your travel and all that out of pocket. Sacrifice. And nothing promised me, not looking for anything, not trying to get a position, but just trying to be a help and a servant. And through that, through the years, my diligence of being, faithful and dedicated. And I believe in people respecting authority. I believe I was in the military and my parents, and I believe that servants should respect authority. And I'm really a believer of that. And so when I can tell people about, sacrifices, the things that, we've given, there's a lot of things I want to do and desire to do, but God hasn't always given me the opportunity because he had me in a position to do something, to be a servant. And so, and I said I would say this, is we have to realize that sometimes servants require sacrifice, and sacrifice is the high cost of surrendering, losing, or giving up something that's important to obtain something of a greater importance. But you don't see too many servants, that want to sacrifice.
True statement, Pastor.
I hope.
Definitely a true statement. You have mentioned so much in that one statement, and being a servant, you're so comfortable with just serving that many people would never just look at you and say, "Oh, wow, you've done all of this." You do it, and you don't have to broadcast it. You don't have to say, "Ooh, look at me." You don't have to say, give me my authority. You don't have to say any of those things.
Mm-hmm.
But there's elderly that have been helped. There's single families that have been helped. There's a community that have been helped, all because you were working in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like, as we get ready to grow to a close, I would like for you to speak on the importance of a servant leader, the importance of it. And then please tell us where we can find you.
Okay. The importance of a servant leader is people need leaders. They need true leaders, just people, because the job of a leader is to get people to do things that they know that they shouldn't be doing, they know that they should be doing, that they're not doing.
Mm-hmm.
So people need leadership, but they need a person that's a servant leader, whereas the servant is not thinking about himself. He's thinking about his people. How can he get them to get where they need to go? And that's what's important, is to have a servant leader, one that's from the heart, that's not trying to abuse the people, misuse the people, or mistreat the people, but to get the people to raise to another level, forgetting themselves, to move forward. That's the importance of having a servant leader. Now, where to find me? You can find me on Facebook at Troy Holt. You can find me on LinkedIn at Troy Holt. You can find me on Twitter at Troy_Holt. You may find a couple of other Twitter accounts, but I have a couple other Twitter accounts. You can find me on Pinterest at Troy Holt. You can find me on Blab and Periscope at Troy Holt. Instagram, it's Troy D. Holt. You can also email me at Troy Holt Consulting LLC at gmail.com. What else? How else can you find me? I'm currently working on my website. That would be up shortly, but I got multiple things going on, and I'm trying to make one hub, so that'll be up shortly. If somebody need to contact me, they can contact me on any of those areas. Email me, any social media platform. I think I'm missing. I'm on Pinterest. Did I mention Pinterest? I'm missing something. I'm missing some platform. I'm on so many. Google Plus. I'm on Google Plus also. But yeah, you can find me on all those platforms. Email me, contact me, instant message me. I'll be happy to answer any questions or help any way that I can.
Well, thank you so much, Troy. And if Troy says something to you today that resonated with you, please find us on changeyourmindsonline.com. You can also find us on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and, of course, our YouTube channel. Jessica, do you have some closing words for us tonight?
Troy, I just want to thank you so much for being on our call, and I was taking lots of notes, and I enjoyed it very much. And I just want to thank everyone who called in. From the bottom of our hearts, we're so grateful for you. God bless, and make it a really powerful week.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you.
And
good night,
everyone.
Good night. Thank you, Dr. Finch.
Good night.